Gamification and NFTs are starting to intersect. Of course, we've seen this with Axie Infinity and other big players that are starting to move in the market, but one that has been around for a bit and starting to make moves is Enjin. And of course, you guys know them, probably have been invested in them. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to TechPath. We do these market movers here on the show. As you guys know, the idea behind this is really straightforward. We get a bunch of news data together. We pull together some source data, some blockchain data, some sentiment. We pull it all together for you, and hopefully we've given you some ideas to go out and start taking a look at some of these projects and or maybe some investment. However, this is not investment advice to you. Always do your own due diligence and get moving on understanding where the crypto space and blockchain technology is moving in general. I want to jump over here to Trade the Chain just to kind of look at where Enjin is and really why we have been tracking this one so closely. As you can see, it's a very hot item right now. This is the 7-day run, trading at $1.32. And as you can kind of see where this was, which was a big separation between sentiment and where the actual price action was going. This is back on July 21st. Sentiment hovering in at 71, which was very strong. Price action had not started to move yet. And then we saw this little bit of a dip right here, which kind of got the waters a little shaky. And then again, back we go into a really positive greenland of high sentiment and, of course, a good amount of price action, which is where we are right now, hovering right around 60 and $1.38 on price and 60 at the sentiment. So when you think about what is Enjin, let's kind of talk about that for a second. Basically, this was launched in 2009. It's an Ethereum-based cryptocurrency used as kind of a used to directly back the value of blockchain assets like NFTs. So the concept of the project, straightforward. Company provides an ecosystem of basic interconnected blockchain-based gaming products. Then their flagship offering, which is the Enjin Network, is a social gaming platform where users can basically create websites, clans, chat. You know, it's an entire ecosystem that's really moving around that. All right, so the cool thing here is how is Enjin disrupting? This essentially means that they're going to create an element across gaming. So this is where this whole multiverse kind of concept starts to play into reality for this. Gaming assets are going to be able to be achieved through a virtual world. Could open up other opportunities so they could scale this into a lot of different areas. Also, Enjin allows for the transfer of digital assets from one to another game. So that's where it gets really interesting and how this potentially can kind of come together. They are working with the UN on carbon impacts with a bit kind of this whole societal impact. So I mean, they've got their head straight in terms of how they're going to impact, because gaming is going to be a big part of NFTs in the future. So the use case for NFT creation is going to be a big part of how Enjin kind of scales. Virtual items are going to require a token lockup. That's going to be interesting to see how they kind of put this together. The new platform, which is the one they're working on right now, is a thing called Efinity. This is where it gets kind of interesting, because it is a cross-chain platform to create a tokenized concept for a variety of use cases. And of course, this is coming off of Polkadot as the platform, and this is at ERC20, of course, on ETH. Partners include Minecraft, Samsung, Microsoft. They have 20 million users across the gaming space. The problem is still an issue with fees, and this, of course, is on ETH, which is why they're using Polkadot in their use case application. As the new token, which you may follow this one. So if you're following the Enjin token, you also want to follow the EFI token, which was separated from the ICO. So Enjin can stake for EFI, which will be a key advantage into lowering fees on Polkadot, which are these whole parachains. I know we're getting into some really deep stuff here. Basically, the Enjin coin and the EFI token are directly connected, and it's kind of like how other platforms are utilizing their own coins. If you think of a Celsius token or a Voyager token, that you're buying that to help support that. That's kind of like what the EFI model is. So you can buy this on Voyager or even Coinbase, Enjin, you can. So this has exploded to above $4 at one time in April. Price prediction for me, I'm kind of still back in the $4 range, and I want to kind of show you where this is going by the end of the bull market. NFT gaming for in-game asset growth in 2022. I think that's where the explosion is going to take place in Enjin, and we could see this in the range of anywhere between $5 and $7 where this is going. I want to jump to some of the latest NFT news. One, of course, is Shopify, which is allowing merchants now to sell NFTs directly to their storefronts, and they're doing it through a lot of the sports. I think the Chicago Bulls were the first one to really launch with this. But the point behind all of what I'm speaking about when it comes to Enjin is that NFTs have moved into mainstream. They've moved into mainstream, and they are now becoming part of an ecosystem that I think early adopters, especially in the gaming applications, are really going to understand. We may not see it as much in some of the other industries, maybe in sports. Sports could be one of the wild cards that could show up in terms of where NFT could really take off. But I think Enjin is definitely going in that direction. Another one was this press release just released by Coca-Cola in its first ever NFT collectibles on the International Friendship Day, and they're basically jumping into this as well. So there's a lot of movement, as I said, that really kind of moves what is happening in NFTs. I want to jump back to Enjin, and one of their latest press releases, this is right here off of their current website. This goes back into that metaverse or that multiverse kind of concept of what Enjin is trying to do across 5 different blockchains. This is pretty cool. And I wanted to scan down to this video that they were running. Let me kind of just get this rolling here. This was a video that essentially they were running on how this is all going to interconnect. This is where it gets very interesting to me, because gaming is going to be a big part of this in the future, and how they play this across different platforms and how all this is going to work is going to get very interesting. And also, if you're into gaming and kind of what, of course, Axie Infinity is doing, then you're already in the right place, especially if you're looking at Enjin, because Enjin is one of those that I think is a breakout project and token, especially with EFI and their Efinity project and kind of that whole investment architecture of how they're putting those two projects together. Let's jump over to the chart here on TradingView just to take a look at where Enjin has rolled from and what this is going to look like maybe over the next few weeks on where we're at. So sentiment holding, and this was a range that happened in June 17th through June 22nd. We pulled a sentiment range of 4603. Very soft. That's a soft sentiment score. Amplification score was 4822. The AMP score started pulling out, and we actually charted the amplification that almost linked up perfectly, with the exception of this little wide body right here. A little bit more price action than we anticipated, but right here is where we saw it coming, but it was all moving to this potentially this high right here, which was floating around $1.45. This right here was a great buying opportunity in this slide. Sentiment held very strong at 51.03, and amplification improved. And of course, we saw the amplification move into the zone here. And of course, this is really kind of what got our attention around Enjin and where this potentially could go. So could this make it to that 550 mark by the end by next year? Could this make it out into the $3 to $5 range? I feel very bullish on where Enjin is going, mainly because of the partnerships and also the awareness of NFTs and the fact that Axie Infinity has done so much and been able to really just be a skyrocket rocket ship in terms of performance, but also in adoption in terms of gamification. The other thing that's going to open up Enjin and its ability to go in these directions with games across blockchain capability is the fact that we've got a lot of emerging countries moving into blockchain, which is going to get them into mobile applications that can potentially get them into gaming. And gaming will be a new pastime, which of course, as we all know, it's continuously growing. And of course, the NFTs that kind of play into this space, going to be big business. And of course, you look, just follow the NBA, follow the NFL, follow Mark Cuban, follow Coca-Cola. Look at where NFT movement is happening. I'm interested to see how maybe an EA Sports and or other gaming companies that are traditional really kind of move into this. I mean, Enjin's already got a partnership with Microsoft, Samsung, so they already have the kind of things moving in that direction. Could this show up on Xbox, start to grow into the Xbox ecosystem? This will be the interesting thing to watch. All right, you guys are listening in over on the podcast. The main thing to do is give us some feedback over there. It's how we get our audio audience understanding what you guys want to hear, listen to on TechPath. And of course, If you want to reach out to us for a show idea, just hit me up on Twitter at Paul Barron. That's a good and easy way. But the number one thing you can do is subscribe to the show and share this with one of your friends, neighbors, friends at work, whoever it might be, and say, hey, if you're into blockchain or you're into tech, because we cover so much here, check out TechPath on the Paul Barron Network, and that's going to be the place for you. Of course, if you have ideas, as I said, hit me up on Twitter at Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.